chilly and cold, chills the body, but not the soul. Ain't but one train on this track. It runs to heaven and it runs back. Yes, every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Yes, every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Unity Temple on the Plaza, where diversity is praised and peace and harmony are the rewards. My name is Diana Greer, and it is a joy to spend this Sunday morning with you. Reverend Ann Tabor is out today, but she's going to be back with us next Sunday. If you're joining us for the first time or visiting from out of town, we're so pleased that you have decided to spend your morning with us. And we'd like to extend a special welcome and invite you for community time downstairs in the lower level in Unity Hall right after our service. And if you're joining us online, welcome. We love to hear where you're at. Please put in the stream where you're streaming in from. And now it's my pleasure to take a few minutes to introduce a wonderful guest speaker today, Reverend Chris Jackson. Many of you already know and love Chris because he's been a familiar presence here at Unity Temple as a speaker over the years. Chris is a third-generation Unity student, ordained Unity minister, speaker, and writer who has served the Unity movement for over 50 years. He is a former executive vice president of Unity Worldwide Headquarters at Unity Village, where he was employed for 26 years. He also served Unity Ministries in South Florida for more than 20 years. Chris retired in 2022 and returned to Kansas City to be with his family. And so, let's give a big, warm Unity Temple welcome to Reverend Chris Jackson. And now, let's prepare our hearts for the reading of the daily word by our prayer chaplain, Fred.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be a prayer chaplain. And our daily word for today, particularly today for me and for our lives, is forgiveness. I stand in front of you today unprepared to read the daily word, having become engrossed in several things I wasn't planning on doing. So I repeat our daily word, forgiveness, and beg your indulgence of my poor showing. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. You're forgiven. It's now time to begin our service with our temple chimes, opening prayer, and call for inspiration with Millie Edwards. Our opening prayer can be found in your bulletin. Please follow along. Together, on this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of oneness with people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation. In harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature, we live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart and open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us to be wise. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me, oh, that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all and all, needing us to shine His light as me, as you. So use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And all that I'm saying is command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine His light
I invite you to join me in closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and those of you that are online, if it's possible for you. Of course, in God's eyes, it doesn't really matter whether your eyes are opened or closed. I present to you an offer this morning. In a time of stillness and silence and contemplative meditation, be willing to exchange the vision of your human eyes for the vision of God. God in whom there dwells no imperfection whatsoever. For, dear friend, it is impossible for perfection to experience imperfection. Give your vision to God and ask in this sacred moment to see as God sees, to see beyond the apparent imperfections of this world of time and space and form and matter, to the spiritual reality that lies behind all of existence. That is the truth of your being. That is the truth of the being of all people who inhabit space in your world. It is the reality of every dimension and aspect of life. Thus, our invitation is to release our preconceived ideas about ourselves, other people, and life as a whole. To dismiss all human judgment, condemnation of any kind. To find within ourselves the God-given ability to look at even those situations and individuals we may despise or reject or resist, and say silently to ourselves, I choose to see this individual, myself, and life as God sees all things. Absolute, divine, exquisite perfection. Not at some point in the future when a work is done, but right here and right now. This must be our greatest desire, especially as we traverse through these challenging times, to release human judgment, to proclaim spiritual reality, to see everything and everyone as God sees, to see with the eyes of peace, of love, of joy, of wholeness, and of plenty. Every one of us in this room and all people upon the face of this planet are pouring their individual consciousness and awareness into the great human collective. What will you contribute this morning in these moments that we share? Will you see? Do you believe you can see as the very Spirit and presence of God sees? And the answer is always yes. For you and God, your brothers and sisters in the human family, are one with divine presence right here and right now. Accept that oneness and accept your ability to see with divine vision as together we settle in to that world that is beyond words, that world that is comprised of only silence. Dear friend, the universe is calling you in this very moment. Calling you to remember the reality of who you are. To release the illusions of this compelling world of facts and figures. And stand in the certainty of your oneness with all creation. And the divine inheritance that has been yours since before all time and space began. This may seem a mighty mission, and you may question your ability to accomplish it. But of this we can be certain. Within you is all that you need to live in total integrity with the authentic nature of who you are and how you have been created to be. An individualized, amazing, astounding expression of nothing less than the presence and the power that is God. Say silently to yourself, yes, I accept, I am willing, I am ready, and I am able. And then stand as a witness to your own transformation and the ultimate transformation of all of life. For this we give thanks in the name, in the nature, and through the power of all that is sacred, all that is beautiful, and all that is holy. And so it is. Amen. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I know we were just coming out of meditation, but don't you think that deserves a round of applause coming from each of our hearts? Wow. What a gift, what a gift. Well, good morning, Unity Temple on the Plaza. It's great to be back with you. I'm going to see if I can raise this up a little bit. If not, there we go. Every time I walk through these hallowed halls, I'm reminded of my entire life because I grew up in this place. This very temple was where I came to church every Sunday. And it was quite a trek. I was just remembering because we lived in Overland Park back in the 1960s. Does anyone remember the olden days? So we had to trek all the way down here to the Plaza. But my very fiber of my being is in the walls of this place. And I spent many a summertime coming down here on a bus. Just to hang out. I don't know why they tolerated my presence because I was like a 14-year-old kid. I got to tell you a quick joke. It wasn't really in my plan, but I feel the spirit of Reverend William Cameron. Some of you may know that he is a past senior minister here at Unity on the Bay, and he made his transition a few years back. But he was God incarnate to me. He was the associate minister here, and then he eventually became senior minister. But while he was associate minister, I was given an assignment in class one day. We had to write what they called a career notebook to let ourselves, our families, and our teachers know what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I knew then, even at that tender age, that I wanted to be a Unity minister. Now, one of the things you have to do in this assemblage of a career notebook is you have to interview someone who is already in the profession that you're interested in. So, of course, I made my way down here to the temple, one of the offices back there where Reverend Cameron was residing at that moment. And I walked in, and he looked at me and he said, "So you want to be a Unity minister, do you?" I said, "Yes, I do. I want to be a Unity minister." He said, "Well, let me tell you, there are two things every minister must have. You need to know this right up front." And I said, "What is that? What is that?" He said, "You have to have gray hair, and you have to have hemorrhoids." And I'm like a 14-year-old kid scratching my head saying, "What the heck is this guy talking about?" He says, "You need the gray hair because it gives you that look of distinguishment. And you need the hemorrhoids because they give you that look of genuine concern." So I was just channeling a little Reverend William Cameron there for you this morning. It is great to be with you. In assembling what I wanted to share, I went back to a talk that I had given when I was the senior minister at Unity on the Bay in Miami, Florida, during COVID. And I remember it distinctly because I was the only person in the room except for a sound guy and a single soloist and a piano player, because of course no one could come together and gather. And so it was just me and a microphone, and that was quite a period of adjustment, learning how to speak publicly when you didn't have a wonderful gathering like all of you are bringing to me today. I wanted to speak at that time on subjects that I felt would be helpful to individuals as we moved through that very perilous time. And so the topic I chose for this particular talk was spiritual healing. And it came to mind for me several months ago that I wanted to go back and try to find that talk on YouTube, which I did. And I didn't have the notes from it anymore, so I started transcribing some notes, and I began to realize very quickly that the thoughts that I had held back in just 2020 had changed from the thoughts that I was now holding. I thought it would be an easy thing to transcribe that talk and then have it ready for you this morning. But in reality, I had to go through it very carefully. And the reason I'm bringing this up with you this morning is because I have changed in the past 5 years. Has anybody else in the room changed in the past 5 years? You know, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Worldwide Unity Movement, once said, and I believe these were the most valuable words he ever shared: "I reserve the right to change my mind." And I think this is important because there's something in our conditioning, is there not, that says, you know, you have to make up your mind. And I always say, whatever you do, don't ever make up your mind. Because if you make up your mind, you put yourself in a box. And in putting yourself in that box, you limit everything that's outside of that box. So this morning I say, I'm glad I changed my mind. I think one of the reasons I came to this planet was to change my mind. And I hope that my mind continues to change every single day after day after day. We are here to change our minds. So how many of you are willing to change your minds this morning as you're sitting in this room or watching online? Good for you. That's what I love about Unity, is that we recognize the importance of not freezing ourselves in time and space and becoming crystallized, but to maintain sort of an organic way of experiencing life. And when the opportunity, and there are so many opportunities right now for us to re-examine our mind patterns and to be willing to change. And I consider each one of them an invitation from the universe for us to continue to evolve in our understanding of spiritual truth. So what I did was I renovated the talk from 2020 so that it was in finer accord with who I feel I am today, and that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. And it is a real honor to be able to do that. The year was 1983. I was employed out at Unity Village. I had just received a promotion to begin working in Silent Unity, our international prayer ministry. I was super excited about this, and I remember sitting down for my first day of training, and someone said to me, always remember that every request for prayer is a request for healing. And at first I scratched my head and I thought, well, no, there's requests for all kinds of things. But essentially what I was told was, it's all a matter of healing. And by healing, what I'm saying is the restoration in our minds and in our hearts, the remembrance of who and what we really are. Because if we get that, if we can remember that we are not what we have been told that we are, we're not the products of limitation and sin and lack and disease, we are the products of divinity, of perfection. We have forgotten that. And most of us, since the day we arrived on the planet, have been programmed to think of ourselves as unworthy, incompetent. It's a miracle in some ways that we can even get up and function on the planet. But the reality is that's not what we are. And we tell you that, I imagine, every Sunday you hear that here at Unity. You are more than you have ever believed yourself to be. And every moment in time is an opportunity for you to take on that remembrance and live in integrity, greater integrity with it. So it's the remembrance that each and every one of us is a whole spiritual being. Now, I haven't spoken here for a while, but you may remember that I don't like to issue absolutes. I don't like to say, well, this is the way it is, and you must conform, and if I'm standing up here telling you something, you better believe that it's true. I don't do that. What I do is offer you proposals, and you are free to take or leave any proposal I give you. It is your charge, I believe, to create your own belief system in this world and to create your own religion, even, if you will. You know, our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, did exactly that. They opened themselves to a study of all the religions of the world, and they incorporated into their own personal belief system that which worked for them. This isn't a turnkey operation. This isn't something that can be handed to you by anybody, including, if not most especially, a religious authority. It comes out of your discerning and resonating with the teachings, the understandings that come to you, and following through with that. So religion is a very personal undertaking, as is a personal belief system. So here is your first proposal for this morning. And again, you can take this, leave it, take pieces and parts of it, or none of it at all. You will not offend me because I'm not here to tell you what to do or who to be. I'm just offering suggestions that are based on my own personal life experience. Here's proposal number 1. The goal of healing is nothing more or less than the remembrance that we are already whole. So remembering our wholeness that is already here. It's not something we have to earn or work toward. We are already whole right now in this moment. And in that remembrance, we will begin to experience wholeness, health, wellness, abundance, harmony, every desired experience in our life. We are not broken unless we believe we are broken. Take that in for a minute. Again, receive it, reject it, but that's my belief. We are not broken unless we believe we are. And here's a bigger one, especially in the times through which we find ourselves walking today in the world. The world is not broken unless we believe it is. And that's an important one to look at because it's hard to look at the realm of appearances. Remember, Jesus told us, do not be persuaded by appearances and don't judge by appearances. Remember the absolute truth. It's not easy to do that during times such as we're walking through right now. But healing requires, you see, that something or someone is not already whole. Therefore, they must be healed because they're not whole. In unity and in metaphysics, we say, no, it's the recognition of the wholeness that erases the appearance of lack, limitation, disease, or any undesired situation and returns us to this awareness that it is only our belief in brokenness, because remember, according to your belief, it's done unto you. So if you are believing you are broken, or somebody else is broken, or someone needs to be fixed, anybody have anybody in their life that needs to be fixed? Yeah. Well, let's look at that. Because if you think somebody needs to be fixed, they must be broken. And they're only broken because you believe they're broken. I mean, this is not easy stuff. It's not for the faint-hearted. But it's the recognition that everyone and everything is whole, well, and free right now. In this material world, however, I grant you, it does appear that there are many needs for healing. And that's what we're confronted with in life, the apparent need for healing. And so from that perspective, I wanted this morning to share with you 3 different modalities of healing. And I'm not limiting healing to these 3 modalities. There are infinite ways that healing can come into our lives. But these are 3 that I have sort of pinpointed just for the sake of putting a little structure into my comments this morning. Each of these 3 modalities can serve in its own way. And I've used them all. Quite oftentimes, I've used them simultaneously because I like to cover all my bases. No method is discounted. Here are the 3 methodologies: physical healing, mental healing, and spiritual healing. Let's start with physical healing. It's the repairing of physical form and matter. That is a physical healing, the repair of physical form and matter. Case in point, a bone gets broken, you go to the doctor, he sets it in a cast, it heals, and it's functional again. You've been physically healed. The second is mental healing. And unity, the unity movement, is known around the world for its methodology around mental healing. And the way that we communicate this or express it is in 2 words: denial and affirmation. And let me first say that when I use the word denial, which was created by metaphysicians years ago, we didn't have psychology on our hands, so denial was not what it sometimes is considered in the world today, which is the refusal to accept the reality that something is happening or an experience is happening, or rejecting it, pushing it back. Denial from a metaphysical or unity perspective is the unwillingness to give power to something that you don't want to have in your life. To withdraw power by denying the idea that anything or anyone outside of you has power over you. So that's what we're trying to deny. To release the investment that we have made through our belief in anyone or anything that is not in alignment with spiritual truth or spiritual reality. So if we are in a situation where we want to utilize a denial, we might come up with a statement such as, I gratefully release all beliefs that I may be holding regarding sickness, disease, or any earthly ailment. I'm going to withdraw the power that I myself have given to that which is not rooted in spiritual reality. And then I'm going to make an affirmation. I'm going to make a statement of spiritual truth or reality. So first thing I do is clean the house. I get rid of the ideas. I release the ideas by withdrawing my investment of power in them. And in so doing, I make room for the affirmation. We plant a thought that's in alignment with our spiritual authenticity, such as, sickness has no power over me. Now that's a big one, because it seems as though sickness, physical ailments, do have power over us. But I tell you this morning, the only reason they have any power over us is because we ourselves have consented to give them that power by believing in them. Sickness, poverty, disharmony are not real in spiritual truth. I am God's perfect, happy, healthy creation. Our master way shower and teacher, Jesus Christ, you may recall many healing stories in the New Testament. One in particular is in the book of John, 5th chapter, 6th verse. There was a man, you may recall, that had been paralyzed, laying by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. Do you recall what Jesus said to him? I'll tell you. Jesus stood at his side as he lay there for 38 years, unable to move, paralyzed. And Jesus said, "Oh my God, have you seen a doctor about this?" Remember that? No. Jesus didn't say that. What Jesus actually said was, scientific evidence based on 1,000 people with the same ailment indicates your chances for survival are slim to none. I don't recall that being in Scripture, actually. Jesus said, "Hey, buddy, could I interest you in a multi-level marketing sales program featuring organically grown phytonutrients guaranteed to eliminate your fatigue and improve your libido?" No, I don't think that's what he said. Jesus said, exercise 3 times a week, drink 3 gallons of water a day, eliminate smoking, alcohol, and avoid sugar and sugar-free substitutes. No. Jesus said, repeat after me 12 times. I am happy, healthy, whole, and free exactly as God created me. Nope, that's not in Scripture. Jesus said, let's consider feeling the experience fully, tracing it back to the error thought held in consciousness so that you can find a better and truer thought to replace it. I don't remember that. Jesus said, your physical condition is a clear indication of your lack of spiritual awareness. No. Jesus didn't say any of that. Again, I'm not trying to question any healing modality. They can all serve a purpose, they play a part. But I believe that Jesus healed differently from that. Jesus said to the paralyzed man, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? It's an important question. And we may off the top of our heads say, well, of course I want to be healed. Nobody wants to be sick. I want to be healed. But sometimes, my dear friends, and I'm owning this for myself, sometimes I'm more comfortable with an old, worn-out belief or idea than I am in accepting the freedom that comes from a spiritual recognition. So it's important that we be able to say, yes, I truly do want to be healed. Genuinely and honestly answer that question. I do. I'm willing to let go of, even if they are cherished beliefs from the past, I'm willing to let them go because they're not serving me toward my healing in this moment. Disease can actually become more comfortable to a human being than wholeness. So we have to say, do I really want to let go of this perceived ailment? And then Jesus said, rise up, take your pallet, and walk. Do you believe that really happened? When the man stood up and began to walk after 38 years? See, according to our belief, it is done unto us. Jesus was not a medical doctor. He was not a metaphysician. He wasn't a therapist, but he was somebody who knew how to see things rightly. He knew how to see as God sees. Eric Butterworth, the renowned Unity minister, preached from the hall of Avery Fisher in New York City for years and years and years to thousands of people. And he always said, don't ever try to make it right. Don't try to make it right. See it right. Jesus had that ability to see as God sees, and it is impossible for perfection to perceive imperfection. When you recognize and remember your wholeness and your perfection, you're not going to be able to perceive imperfection. It won't be in your internal vocabulary. Spiritual healing doesn't operate on the level of symptoms. The symptoms do not matter. The condition doesn't matter. Nothing external matters. Spiritual work is done on the level of the non-physical, the realm of true cause. It may come ultimately as a physical healing, but it may not. It's the realization. It's just simply the remembrance of who and what you truly are. And we really have to want this, to exchange our human vision for divine vision. When we are aligned with the spiritual reality of who we are, incredible things begin to happen. We find ourselves welcoming opportunities when situations and individuals show up that we are out of harmony with, in disagreement with. Because we realize the only reason there's a problem going on out here in our minds is because the problem is in our minds. So it becomes an internal undertaking. I'm not saying we don't take action in the world according to the guidance that we receive, but I am saying that action comes out of a state of spiritual alignment and purity. Not long ago, was it a month or two ago? I'm looking at Karen, but Karen called me from work, and she said, we need to go see Angela, our daughter, who I had spoken with. I knew she had an upset stomach, and she'd been out walking, and she was at home sick. And Karen's very intuitive, and she said, no, we need to get over there right now. And I'm so glad for that intuition. It's like a motherly intuition. Hello? You know what I'm talking about. These kids never really leave you. You feel them all the time. So we rushed over, and in the meantime, I had heard that my daughter had been out taking a walk the night before, and all of a sudden she had a jaw pain, a rather intense jaw pain, and this nausea. Neither have which I have ever heard were symptoms of a heart attack. But they are, if you don't know that, I guess, especially in women, pain in the jaw and nausea. So thank God we got over there, because she was still at home, and we rushed her over to the emergency room out in Overland Park at St. Luke's, only to discover that, in fact, she had had a heart attack. Now, she just celebrated her 40th birthday, so it wasn't even in my mental register. But what was in my mental register, I remember someone telling me, when you really start to get this truth, spiritual truth, into your gut, it comes up automatically, more naturally, and more spontaneously with that practice. That's why we call it practice. And so the first thing I began to do in my own mind was to see her rightly. And it's not easy to do, is it? When you get a diagnosis, or someone you love gets a diagnosis, it's not easy to remember that you don't want to empower that. What you want to do is see rightly. I wanted to see Angela the way I really know her to be, and it's not easy to do when a loved one is in that kind of state. Nonetheless, that, along with the affirmations, along with the denials, along with taking her to the emergency room. And this is something I love about Unity. We don't tell you you have to do this all on your own. We don't tell you that you can't go to medical professionals, although some religious persuasions believe that, and I honor it. We tell you, do what you need to do and act as you are guided, and God works as effectively through doctors, emergency rooms, and hospitals as God does through any other means. So all those doors were open, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And my daughter's fine, thank God, and she's getting better every day. But I was just talking to her on the phone this morning, and I said, I'm going to talk about you this morning, so your ears may be burning. And I said, I'm going to tell everybody that your father healed you. Now, I say that comically. There was just silence on the other end of the line, like, Dad, there you go, being a minister again. But the reality is that I believe the most important ingredient we can ever give someone that we love when they're going through, or ourselves, when we're going through a physical ailment, an apparent need for healing, is whatever we need to do on the material level, whatever we need to do on the mental level, but to see that individual rightly. I don't care whether they're laying in a hospital with tubes plugged into them all over the place and IVs. I say you must see them. We must see them. This is the most important contribution we can make to ourselves and to other people, is to see it rightly. And I believe the same thing is true right now on this planet, my friends. It's very important right now. We say these are perilous times. I say they are times that are filled with opportunity. Opportunity for us to almost be backed into a corner to remember who we are. Because there's only so much we can do out here, but there's no limit to what we can do in here. There's no limit to how we can change our ability to see this world rightly, to see it as God sees it, to not buy into all the complaints and the criticisms that are going on right now. Stand in our personal truth, but also stand in the recognition, and we say this all the time in Unity, but I hope you really hear it, and I hope I really hear it this morning. You are nothing less than the presence and the power of God individually expressed as the Christ. God bless you.
At this time, we will be receiving the love offering. A love offering is a special way we express our gratitude and generosity given from the heart to support the work this ministry and to bless all who serve among us. In addition to today's love offering, we'd also like to remind you about our Ambassadors Program. This program makes it possible for you to support the ministry through reoccurring giving, an ongoing commitment that helps provide a steady foundation for all the good work we do here at the Unity Temple. Thank you for giving as you are able. We will now read our love offering affirmation together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive, and so it is. Amen.
With God, I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I was looking for somebody to hold me, and I was so desperate. I reached out to Millie, but oh, my heart was aching, and I was so unhappy, 'cause I thought that someone could make it all better. One day I had to realize to seek first the kingdom, and all things and everything would be added unto me. Now I know the Spirit is my supply, and all my everydays are filled with friendship, sweet love and kindness. Now all around me are those that love me, 'cause I live in the fellowship, that my friend in the fellowship of the kingdom. And I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I was searching for fortune, looking hard for fame, 'cause I thought that money would ease my pain. Yes, I wanted a big car, a house by the ocean. I was getting nowhere, it was wasted motion. One day I had to realize to seek first the kingdom, and all things and everything had been added unto me. Now I know the Spirit is my supply, and God's abundance is larger than the sky. A life of service is now my mission, and all that I pray for is already given, 'cause I live in the fellowship of the kingdom. And I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. I used to think that I needed somebody. All I needed was my connection with God. God knows what I needed. God knows what I need. Ooh, all I need is my connection with God.
Thank you, Temple Choir. That was amazing. This morning, I want to take a moment to recognize our wonderful prayer chaplains who will be serving with us today. They will be available after service down here in the front of the sanctuary to offer one-on-one prayer support. Please know that anything you share with them is held in the strictest confidence. Our prayer chaplains are always here to support you and are honored to pray with you. Make sure to join us next Sunday for a new Sunday series, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, A Simple Guide to Unlimited Abundance, Part 1, entitled Living Your Purpose with Reverend Ann at 10:30 a.m. To take it deeper, she's inviting you to join her for a 4-week book study on Wednesday nights on October 15th, 22nd, 29th, and November 5th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. here at the Temple. It's a wonderful way to go beyond Sunday inspiration, share some laughs together, and put these prosperity principles into practice. For all of the details and to register, just scan the QR code located on the back of your Sunday bulletin. On the bulletin, you will also notice a QR code to sign up for our weekly newsletter. This is a great way to stay up to date with all of the exciting events happening here at Unity Temple on the Plaza. Thank you again for joining us today, both in person and online. We look forward to seeing you again next week. So please join me in the prayer of protection and let there be peace on earth. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.